Alright, welcome back everyone. I'd like to update you guys on what's happening with this Tepari queen. Unfortunately, as you may or may not be able to see, down in the bottom of the screen there, you can see a little white dot. This little white dot is unfortunately the pupae. That was taken out of its cocoon a few days ago. It seems she's taken it out of the test tube and just dumped it in the sand, and I'm pretty sure it's dead. Well, there it is. It looks like it's intact, but I think it's starting to decay. There's not really a whole lot you can do. I'm pretty sure it's already dead. Maybe if it was still alive and was just dumped out there for no reason, maybe I could try give it to another one of my Tepari queens, but it looks like it's dead, so yeah, there's not much you can do. On to better news. My second Myrmecia Tepari queen has a pupae. One exactly. And it's surprising. This queen is a whole year younger than the other one. It's really interesting how her brood has developed quicker and she hasn't eaten it like the other one has. On to the next colony. Well, here's my oldest colony. This is, I believe, Colobopsis gasseri. This was my first ever queen and my first ever workers, and so that's pretty cool. I've had these guys for, I believe, just about 2 years, and they're somewhere around 10 workers. They are really stubborn and don't want to move out of their original test tube. It's completely dried up. They don't really seem to care, but I've added in this other test tube a bit lower. As you can see, this one, I had a different test tube in here, one of these larger ones, for months, and they didn't move into it. They drank all the water out of it, and so I had to add in this one. And to encourage them to go into this one, I've put in, you can see at the entrance of the test tube, I've made the entrance a lot smaller with some blue tack, and this hopefully will encourage them to move into it, because Colobopsis, when their majors come, they plug the entrance of their nests with their heads, so they'll be able to actually do this with this nest, so hopefully that will make them feel more secure and want to move into it. Sorry for the bad quality. This is filmed through the side of the outworld, but just so I can show you guys the entrance of the new test tube, the one on the left. So you can see I've made it a lot smaller, smaller than the current one right here. So yeah, hopefully that'll get them to move in. Alright, on to something a little different. You might be wondering what you're even looking at right now. This is just a whole bunch of charcoal, and living in amongst the charcoal is Springtails. They are tiny little bugs that live pretty much everywhere, in every continent, everywhere in the world. And I have probably a couple hundred living in here. I'll give you guys a close-up. See those little white things? They are Springtails. There's a whole bunch of them all living in amongst the charcoal. You can see a little baby one there. They're just tiny, tiny. It's really hard to get a good shot of them. But these guys, the reason I'm breeding them in here is to one day be able to add them into my ant setups, and hopefully they'll clean out some of the mold. These guys primarily eat decaying matter and mold and fungus, that kind of stuff. You can see here what I'm feeding them. That is a rice granule, and because the setup is so moist, the rice grows mold on it, and the Springtails eat the mold off the rice. So that's all you have to feed them. These guys are super easy to care for. Also, if you guys want to know how I caught these guys, because I did catch these out in the wild, I made traps for them. If you want to see a video on that, make sure to comment that you want to see it, and I'll do a video on it. Last off, I'd like to show you guys this Camponotus queen. You might actually recognise this one. This was one of the species I caught in my Looking for Queens at Night video. She's a pretty big Camponotus species, not quite as big as Consubranus or a meat ant queen, but she's up there. Some of you might be thinking this might be Camponotus aneopilosus, but it's actually not. She's a fair bit bigger than that kind of queen, but still very similar looking. As you can see, she has her first eggs. I've got about 7 of these queens, so I'll probably be selling some of these very soon. If you live in Australia and are interested in buying some of these queens, let me know in the comments and I'll get in touch with you. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure if you have any questions, put them down in the comments and I'll answer them. Alright, see you in the next video.